Hey everyone, I'm Pastor Gary Hoban and welcome to Refinery Life Australia. This year, our goal is to do something a little bit different and release a new video and podcast every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. To begin the new year, we're starting on Wednesdays with a 5-part series from Philippians 4 about the pathway to success. And today, we're going to start with some personal advice. Philippians 4:9 says, "What you have learned and received and heard and seen in me, practice these things, and the God of peace will be with you." How good is that? Practice these things and the God of peace will be with you. We've all heard the saying, advice is cheap. And generally that's true. But of all the advice we receive, we don't expect someone to say to us, "You should be just like me." That, however, is the advice that Paul gave the Philippians. Paul described what the elements of living that should mark the Christian's life. He was telling them how they should live. And then he ended by saying that they should do things that they had seen him do. It might have been strange advice, but it was still good advice. This advice provides a model. Paul presents himself as the model to follow. Each of us model our lives on someone else. How many times have we been able to see a child doing exactly what they've seen their father or their mother do? Exactly the same things. It has been said that we're the average of the 5 people that we hang around the most. So just keep that in your mind. Who are you spending time with? So what are the things that Paul says we should do to model after him? The things we have learned. Among the things that people have learned from Paul were the teachings of Jesus. An instructor was needed to teach Christian living. So Paul supplied this instruction. The second thing is the things that we've received. The new Christians at Philippi also received a body of Christian belief or doctrine from Paul. Many times Paul defended what he called his gospel, which was the gospel of God's grace. We've also received the doctrine of Christ, which is grace. Paul's letters normally contained both doctrinal and practical parts, and these two parts are outlined by the terms learn and receive. Instruction in the doctrine of grace and Christian living are two things that we should all model. If we want to call ourselves a Christian, we should model them. So the third thing is the things we've heard and seen and the characteristics which we have observed. I know a pastor that if they don't get an exit row or an upgrade on a plane when they travel, they get angry. And they get cranky with the airline staff and they make it known that they're not happy. But imagine if these same staff went to the pastor's church to see how someone who could get so irate could preach Christ. People can easily be turned away by what they observe in a Christian. So do they see love or do they see anger and hate? Motivation is provided in this advice. Paul said that the God of peace will be with you. If we model our lives on the things that we have learned, received, heard and seen, we will know that the God of peace is part of our lives. This isn't just a theory, it's a fact. Paul could tell everyone stories of when the God of peace was with him. We should all be able to do the same thing. Paul passed on this piece of advice which grew from his personal experience. If we follow this advice, we'll become stronger Christians. Until next time, stay in the blessings.